Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be our fourth week and our fourth installment of the modes on guitar. We're going to learn the modes using tool songs. Today's lesson is going to be about Lydian, the Lydian scale, the fourth degree of the C major Ionian scale. If you've been following along since lesson one, if you're already here in lesson four, I strongly suggest that you jump back and start at lesson one. I'm not trying to get some clicks out of you. I'm just trying to guide you down the right direction. If you start up here all the way at lesson four, honestly, you're just going to be a little bit too far forward in the game, and you're going to miss out on a lot of real fundamental information that's going to make sense and help map you towards this part of this journey, right? So we started with C Ionian, which was C major. I guess you got to turn this thing on first, right? So, all right, that was one way to play the major scale. We also play it like this. Then we went to D Dorian. We also play D Dorian like this. Then we have E Phrygian. We also play E Phrygian, right? Because we've learned different variations and different ways to play these scales. That's why I'm saying it's important to go back and go ahead and start at one. And we've worked our way now to 4, which is Phrygian, starting at F. Now remember, E Phrygian, Lydian is just half a step above E, right? Because remember it was C, D, E, F. So if we start at F instead of E Phrygian, right? I'm going to do E Phrygian real quick just to get us there. Well, then if we start half a step up and end half a step up, we're in F Lydian. Right? Now, F Lydian is a major scale. It's a major scale because, as we've learned in the previous lessons, it has a major third in it. That automatically makes it a major scale, right? So if we play F Lydian, you're going to realize that the third in F Lydian is a major third. Right? We learned that the major third is always half a step down and one string down from the tonic. So that says then that the A note is the major third of the F scale, right? Because it's F, G, A, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? Now, the difference between F major, because this is the second major scale in the C Ionian scale, right? So since this is the second major mode, it has the major third, but the difference is, what makes a difference in the regular major is that it has a sharpened fourth. Look here, the original major scale follows this pattern. Just like the C one does. However, we sharpen the fourth right here. So it looks like this. So it has a little bit of a distinctive sound to it. Now, here's the a little bit of bad news. Well, it's not really bad news. It's just the news, right? There are no tool songs that are going to have F Lydian or even a Mixolydian scale in it, right? Stuff with major thirds are very few and far between. He does throw some major thirds in some songs, but I'm talking about this is very few and far between. The place that I do see it sometimes in the beginning of Descending, right? He does one quick major third right here where it literally goes like this. Right, this? That's a major third. F, A. So I'll play that real quick in case you want to pick this up and start goofing around with it. So that's C, D, right? Look. Then he hops back up here and he goes G, A, F, A. Then he goes G, open D. See? Okay, so that's one of the examples where you might see a major third in a Tool song, right? So there's a part in Push It in the middle. There's like a little interim there before the bridge where he does a D major. Why is it a D major? D, F sharp, D major, and then an A major. A, C sharp. 1, 2, 3. So there's a part in Push It when it goes. That little part. So that actually has a very distinctive sound that pops out. Like when you hear that part of the song, it's like, wait, that sounds a little weird. Well, that's because he's using little major double stops, right? You could also drone that with the A string over it because it's always going to sound good, because the A and the D are going to always sound good together, and obviously the A and the A are going to always sound good together. So, all right, so back to F Phrygian. So again, the sad news is there's not a lot of songs that use F Phrygian, other than that one part that I just showed you, the intro to Descending, right? There is some F major work in the beginning of Pneuma, when it goes. So you saw that, you saw the F major kick in there. So that was the F and the A again. So that happens on in the second part of that riff. It goes a step higher. So it's originally it's descending, starting from the D. So right here it goes F. Then he's doing an F again, but with a sus4, right? So let's look at that again. Obviously, this is played with a bunch of delay and a bunch of other stuff going on in the background, but I don't want to play it with all that stuff because I don't want you to lose the essence of the notes. So you'll see it in some songs, but it's not enough for me to grab an entire song like we did with H and like we did with Eulogy, where the whole song is built around those scales, right? And those modes, because H is directly derived from D Dorian. We proved it in the second lesson, right? We played all the notes that were in that scale. We used them all along throughout the whole song. We also did it in Eulogy. In Eulogy, we picked the notes out of E Phrygian, we laid it on the fretboard, and we went from beginning to end. We saw all the notes played in that scale. Problem is, I'm not going to be able to do that to a Tool song using F Lydian. It's just not going to happen, right? So instead, what we're going to do here is we're going to occupy this time to go real quick over the scale. We're going to play it in different positions so we can start talking about octaves and in different positions in the neck. We've talked about this before in some other ones, but now we got a little bit more time to talk about it. And we're also going to spend a little bit of time on workshopping, right? And maybe tips for practicing. All right, so here we go. Follow along. So here we're going to do F Lydian again. Right? So if we wanted to follow that, basically, let's say we wanted to continue that down the neck. Well, what we would do is we already know the pattern. We know that this is the octave. So if we start that exact same pattern again down here, now remembering the relationship between the G and the B string, that from the G to the B, you need to slide everything up one fret. So let's pay attention to this part right here. So first thing I'm doing here is 1, 2, 3, right? Then the 4, 5 are half steps next to each other. Then 6 and the 7 and 8 are half steps next to each other. So 1, 2, and the 3. See where the 3 is in relationship to the 1? Well, when we come down here to the G string, we're gonna have to slide that up one fret. So then that relationship is gonna be straight down. We can't do this because that becomes a minor third. You hear the difference? Okay, so remember, when we're on the G string, we need to slide the next string up one. And then obviously the next one is just going to follow the same pattern. So that means that the F Phrygian down here starting at the G string looks a little different. It looks like this. See how the octave here is 1 fret higher versus, see how the octave here is only 2 frets away? So now if I wanted to do, let's call it a workshop, right? Remember I was talking in the previous lesson, I think it was in lesson 2, where I gave the real brief example about G Mixolydian and doing little, right, where I'm just basically pounding into that one pattern. Well, if I wanted to do, let's say, F Lydian, right? Because I already know the pattern. I already know where I got to stay. As long as I stick in that box, it's going to sound good. So I know I'm starting here at F. This F Lydian, the octave lower, starts here. I know where this F is in relationship to this. So if I wanted to do a cool run, I would just start here, run through the scale, slide up to the next octave, and continue down the scale. I just ran through the exact same notes using the same pattern, just sliding up an octave, right? There I slid up to the G because I would make a natural transition to connect those two together. So let's look at that again. We're just going to start at the highest F. This is the highest available octave on the guitar, the F, because the last one on a 22 fret is D. I'm never going to hit the F. So this is the highest available F note on the guitar. So we're going to start here. Now, if you make little patterns up, because that's what I'm really doing here, is I'm not really thinking about the pattern that I'm playing. It's just, I'm just flowing through it because I've already done all I'm doing there is just saying, okay, I'm going to start here with this note, with the A, then I'm going to land on the C, then pull off, then I'll land on the B, right? So if I do different variations of that, I end up with those cool little licks, right? And if you can connect the different combinations of that, but keeping in mind that where you want to end up is on the tonic, on the higher octave, or maybe back resolving on the tonic of the F, then you're free to then flow around the fretboard and do what you want to do. All you have to do is just memorize the pattern. That's why I keep emphasizing this thing about the workshopping, man. It is so important to just sit down, give yourself 5 or 10 minutes, pick a scale, and just drill. Just drill at it until you just end up burning this into your brain. It gets to the point you don't even think about it. It just flows naturally, right? Okay. Now, once you master and burn that pattern into your mind and basically and really into your hands, because it ends up becoming like muscle memory, right? Then if you connect it, let's just do a real quick, I've been wanting to get to this part just so you guys can see this connection. Let's just do a real quick jump from Lydian to Mixolydian, which is the next one, the 5th scale, the 5th mode, the 5th degree, right? Where we would be starting on G. G Mixolydian is exactly like C Ionian, but with a flattened seventh. Now, if we pay attention to the map, let's just connect these two scales together. The F Lydian and the G Mixolydian. You see this? The infamous box of 4. Here it is right here. B, C, E, F. When you identify that box of 4, that's going to tell you already, okay, remember, the top, when you're looking at the box of 4, the top note on the right, if you want to call it, is going to be the tonic of that major scale. C major, C Ionian. Okay, so I might have ran through that a little bit, but it's okay. You could stop, you could back up, get to this little chapter marker, and watch that part again, because that relationship, that box of 4 relationship, is going to be your waypoint on the map that is the fretboard. When I see those boxes appear where I'm playing, then I already know where I am, because that already tells me the Ionian scale of this scale that I'm playing in. So let's get back here and let's look at the relationship between these two scales, Lydian and Mixolydian. So by connecting these 4, and we know we have a whole step after this and a whole step below this on both of these strings. And then we know we have a whole step between the F and the G, and then the G to the A. These are all the notes that are involved between these two scales, F Lydian, G Mixolydian. Well, now you can really get creative, because now you know exactly the pattern that you just need to stick in, and you can slide around here and make a whole bunch of really cool musical ideas, right? So all I did there was stay on the map of those two scales and bounce through the 2 octaves of it. The way I learned that is just by consistently workshopping and making those connections between my hands, the fretboard, and what's going on between my ears, which, you know, whatever. So let's look at that again. F, G, right? So we got these notes involved in both of these scales. We can slide around both of these, the combination of these two scales in both octaves, and get all of those sounds out of that. All right, guys, well, that's it. That's all we have for today. So we went ahead and went over Lydian and Mixolydian. We went ahead and just mixed them both together. The reality is that both of these major scales are not going to appear anywhere in any Tool songs, but I didn't want to just skip over them because they are obviously important modes that we needed to cover to make it to the 6th degree, which is Aeolian, which we're going to start to do in A, because A is the 6th degree of C Ionian, right? But what we're really going to end up doing here is finally transitioning into D Aeolian, which is the most commonly used scale in most Tool songs. Most Tool songs are in D Aeolian, which is really F Ionian because of the relationship of the box of 4. We're going to go over that finally when we get there. But I hope you enjoyed this lesson, man. If you learned something, please subscribe, leave a comment, leave me a like. tell a friend, you know, maybe we can get some other people to join us on this new way of learning guitar. I'm hoping you're learning something, and I'm hoping you're enjoying yourself. Please remember to practice, man. Go ahead and sit down and do some workshops. They really pay off in the end. Thanks for watching, man. Keep coming back.